I've never been a fighter. To me, fighting has always felt pointless. Why risk everything in an instant over something dumb? It just seems primitive. Walking away and being the bigger person, no matter how tall the other guy is, or standing your ground to protect yourself and people you care about. That's the real strength. That's the rational thing to do. But none of that mattered here. Before we get into that, what's going on, you guys? My name is Days, and this is the story of the time I got punched in the face by a dude half my size. Now, this takes place a while ago. I was about 12 years old and had just moved down to Florida, so I was still getting used to new places and new people and new things in general. Growing up, I'd always been considered as a social butterfly, still with the insecurities of a 12-year-old, but not too shy to embrace it. I remember the day vividly. It was a Friday afternoon, and the entire class was coming back from lunch for PE. And since it was a Friday, it was basically a free day. The coaches brought out all the balls and equipment into the big gym, and you were free to play whatever you pleased. Now, there are two people worth mentioning for this story time. One was a girl I had a crush on at the time, and I remember her being one of the most kind-hearted people ever, and she smelled like your favorite candy, so it didn't take a lot for your boy to be like, yep, she's the one. And the second guy has to be the most annoying, most devious person I'd ever met in my life. Nobody liked this kid. He was easily the most annoying dude on the face of the planet. I don't know if it was his squeaky voice, the constant need to get under people's skin, or a combination of both, but whatever it is, this kid had a gift for making people mad. We were all about 12 at the time, and I hadn't hit my growth spurt yet. I was sitting at around a confident 5'2", and he was maybe 4'11" tops, which was even short by 6th grade standards. So I was playing basketball by myself at the time, minding my own business, when out of nowhere, I get kicked in the back of the head with a basketball. I can tell it was kicked because nobody was throwing a ball at that velocity without a little help. So I turn around looking for where it came from, and I'm sure you can probably already guess. It was the annoying kid. Now, I never gave him a name. I'm gonna give him the name Steve because he just sounds like Steve. No offense to my Steves out there. Love you. I see him surrounded by a circle of basketball staring at me, chuckling to himself like he just pulled off the greatest prank of all time. And to be honest with you, in my head, I was laughing with him. I'd given him the benefit of the doubt because I did not really know this kid. Outside of the fact that nobody liked him, we never had an interaction before. So I shrugged it off and kept playing basketball. I proceeded to get hit with a basketball 2 more times, and the second time getting hit directly in the back of the head. Mind you, Steve was kicking these balls straight towards me. Now, he wasn't the best kid, but I do give him props for his aim. Once he hit me in the back of the head, I walked over to another side of the court to get out of the way. I didn't think it was funny anymore, but I wasn't mad about it either, just irritated. Like, who does that? You know, I don't even know you, bruh. I don't know. I started playing basketball on another side of the room and continued to mind my own business. I guess I stopped giving him attention. He eventually got bored and went to play something else. Mind you, I hadn't forgotten what happened. I was just waiting on the perfect time to get my get back. So at the time, the bleachers were held up to the wall and kind of made a ladder to climb on top of. And sometimes balls would get stuck up there. I noticed that Steve had gotten a volleyball stuck up there and he was climbing up the little makeshift ladder. I thought this was my perfect moment to get back at him. I ran over to the other side of the gym where he was at and started pulling his feet from underneath the makeshift ladder. Quick note. Do not do what I did here. Honestly, if I had not pulled his feet from underneath the ladder, the rest of the story would not have gone the way it did. And plus, this was just straight up dangerous. The bleachers are about 15 feet tall, and he could have easily gotten seriously hurt. I would know. I broke my arm just falling from my height to the floor face down. That's a story for another time, though. But me, being a dumb 12-year-old child, I thought to myself I had to get him back somehow. Now, he didn't fall. He climbed the rest of the way up to the top of the bleachers and climbed halfway back down and jumped off. When he hopped down, I noticed that he wasn't looking up, but started walking towards me. Then, once he approached me, he started throwing a flurry of punches at me. I honestly still thought we were playing. 1, because he was way shorter than me, and 2, because it felt like he was hitting me with cotton swabs. So I started laughing because I thought he was trying to tickle me. Then little fucking Mike Tyson Jr. hits me with an overhead haymaker right above my eye, and I go falling to the floor immediately. I remember he hit me so hard, I saw a quick flash of white in my eyes, and then I fell to the floor. So I got up from off the ground and grabbed the kid by his neck and choke slammed him to the ground. And he was out for the count. The entire class saw me do this and started cheering, and some of the kids picked me up as if we had just won the finals. Even the coach threw a Gatorade jug on top of me and started cheering too. Yeah, fuck that kid. I'm just kidding. None of that happened. He hit me in the face and I immediately fell to the floor, bawling my eyes out. When I started crying, everyone in the gym made a circle around me. I felt like I was in a movie. The cherry on top was, within that circle, I saw my crush, looking down at me with disgust. I'm just kidding. I don't remember what she was thinking, but I'm sure it was somewhere along those lines. The coach came up, picked me up from the floor, and asked what happened. I explained to her from the start what had happened, and she walked me back to the nurse where I had this big old lump on my head looking like I was a guest star on the Coneheads. The nurse looked at it and gave me a bag of ice. The only time ice could actually help in a situation like that. Another quick note, I feel like that's what, nurses go to for everything is. Oh, you just scratched your knee? Oh, here's some ice. Oh, you've been projectile vomiting all morning? Here's some ice. Oh, you just lost your leg? Here's some ice. I don't know what the process is to become a nurse at a school, but the bar was either really low or they did not care. When I was waiting at the nurse's office, I was called to the principal's office. I got back there and it's the principal and Steve waiting for me. I walk in and I start explaining my side of the story of how he hit me with the basketball 3 times and why I pulled his feet from under the ladder. Then after I tell him, he looks at me and says, "Did you know you busted his lip when he fell?" At first I didn't believe him because I was there, he didn't fall. But then I looked back at Steve and realized that he had a pretty nice gash on his lip. That's when I kind of put it all together, realizing why he was so angry when I pulled his feet. He had actually slipped and busted his lip and caught himself before falling. Then the principal says, "We called your parents and since there's a zero tolerance fighting policy, we are putting both of you guys on out of school suspension and giving you both referrals." Which worked out perfectly because that Friday was the Friday before spring break, so we weren't going to school anyway. My mom picked me up from school early and I explained to her what happened. Mind you, my mom is an African American woman, born and raised in the deepest depths of Cleveland, Ohio. She had a zero tolerance when it came to doing anything bad in school. Showing up late for class, she's on your ass. I couldn't imagine what she would think of if I came home with not only 2 weeks suspension, but also a referral. I was cooked. When I got into the car, the only thing she said was, "Call your father." Now, usually that's something a child never wants to hear, because it never ends up well. However, in my situation, that was actually a good thing. My dad was usually more chill whenever things would happen, no matter what it was about. That's partly where I get my personality from, just learning from my dad. He picks up the phone and he already knew what had happened.
Hey Dad, sorry to call you, but Mom wanted me to talk to you about something. You got into a fight at school. Kind of, like, yes, but no. The guy was hitting me with a basketball and I pulled his feet from off the ladder and he punched me. Did you hit him back? No? You're grounded for 2 weeks.
I got home, went into my room and started bawling again. Alright, you're gonna see a pattern when I was younger. I was a pretty big crier. Eventually I got out of that, but at the time it was my biggest response to being upset. So yeah, I don't remember how those last 2 weeks went, but that was one of the many story times I have from middle school. Moral of the story? Don't do what I did in this story time. If I had just talked to the teacher when the first basketball hit me, then he probably just would have stopped, or I could have talked to him and shut it down right then and there. But nah, I did the worst possible thing and put myself in the worst possible situation. Not my proudest moment, y'all. Not my proudest moment. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you found this entertaining, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by April. That would just be amazing. Leave some of your middle school story times down below, or tell me about a time you got punched in the face. Anyways, love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thank you, Alaska.